Hey everyone, welcome back to the Winner Circle. I'm Derrick.
And I'm Cody.
And we're here with the second evicted house guest, Hisam. Hisam, how are you doing this morning? How are you feeling? You're basically, your life in the Big Brother house is over, and now you've been returned to us. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing as well as I can, I think. A lot has happened to me in the last 3 weeks. I've lived an entire lifetime in 20-something days. So I'm adjusting to that, and I'm adjusting to what my life will be like afterwards, right? And so I'm optimistic that it will be really great and that I will be received how I want to be received, but you never know.
Well, I can tell you one thing before Cody asks the first question. Who cares what how anybody receives you? If you watch the show back and you approve of how you played, trust me, that's my one piece of advice. That's all that matters.
And it's a game.
Thank you.
It's an absolute game, Hisam. So it is what it is. And you're never going to please everybody. I promise you that as well.
The people that matter to me, I hope that they basically will see me this way, right? Like there are lots of people I don't care about. But
there you go.
Correct.
Yeah, but I really do hope that the people who I love and care about will see me in a certain way.
That's the way to be.
I love that. Okay, so let's jump right into it. Being backdoored is probably the worst way to go. And being backdoored without even having the chance to play makes it like pouring salt in the wound. Who did you feel led that charge and really was like the knife in your back? Do you feel like it was one person or a group of people?
Well, I think it has to be a group of people, right? In order to basically get everyone to backdoor someone, a lot of people have to align because you don't want to miss that shot, which basically means that you have to have the majority. So I knew by the time that they had backdoored me that they had at least secured 6 votes, 7 with Felicia, right? Because she puts me up, which then means it's an upward climb to get out of that. But, you know, a backdoor is one of those things that takes a lot of activity and a lot of organization. And so it's always a group of people working collectively.
All right. So which people? Come on, Hisam. Who did you feel betrayed by?
Oh, which people? Of course, it's the people that I'm closest to, right? It has to be like Izzy, Suri, and Felicia, right? That has to be the case, right? Because otherwise, I would have been safe, right? These were people I was closely aligned with, right? Correct. So, and Felicia is basically the head of household. She gets to name the replacement nominee. So Felicia has to be in on it. The people she's closest to, of course, are Izzy and Suri. I see it in the house. I'm not naive.
Yeah.
So it has to come from them.
Gotcha.
All right. So obviously when you were going into the house, like all of us, you have this strategy or this plan of how you're going to go in there and how you're going to win this season of Big Brother, right? Well, now let's say I give you a time machine, okay? And you can go back to Hisam before he enters the house. You're sitting in the hotel room in sequester, waiting to enter the house. You can go back and give Hisam one piece of advice before entering the house. What is that advice that you're giving him?
Here's what I'll tell you. I actually had the piece of advice. I just couldn't implement it.
Oh, okay. All right. Interesting answer.
So the most important thing that I wanted to do was get into a room. I wanted to actually get into a room with people that I thought I wanted to work with. Because we just know from social theory that just by proximity, you will work with the people that are nearest to you. What ended up happening by the time I got in, there was no bed for me. And so I end up having no bed. And so that ultimately leads me to being a have-not. When I become a have-not, that basically changes the whole game for me. And I knew that coming into the house, I needed to be actually in a room. But there were no beds available.
It's interesting that you say that. We have a question coming up in a little bit that kind of plays off of that. And something we were interested in, but we're going to save that one. Cody's got something for you, but there's definitely a question to kind of play off of that answer.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Sure.
So there was a conversation. I don't know if you remember. You were having a conversation with America. This is after you got put on the block, where you were like, "I was embarrassed and betrayed by my friends, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to forgive them." Do you think it was more? How do you feel now after the fact? I know it's super fresh. So do you feel like you will be able to forgive them for what they did to you? Or do you think like it was taken very personally and it was not game and you don't know if you're going to be able to get over that?
Well, I think this is a really smart game move. I think it came too early.
Agreed, by the way, agreed.
Right. I think that this game move is a smart game move, right? You should betray me. You should basically backdoor me. I'm going to be a fierce competitor. It's the way to get me out. I actually thought the way they would get me out was actually through a double eviction. When you're also incredibly vulnerable, right? And I just knew that these were the two places where my game would be in trouble, is like when I basically could get backdoored and when I basically could have a double eviction. I just didn't think that, as far as I'm a strategic game player, so in my mind I was like, you would keep me around to get rid of some other strong players. I was actually naturally aligned to basically target other people, right? And I was fiercely loyal to our group. And so, just from a strategic standpoint, I was like, why wouldn't you keep me around to do a lot of the dirty work? Because I was already doing it. And so, what I will say is, like, of course, like, it's a game. And of course, I can forgive people, right? And they will forgive me for the things that I have done and said. And that's a two-way street. And, I believe that forgiveness leads to connection. Connection leads to healing. And healing leads to hope, right? And so, the truth of the matter is, it's like, yes, of course, I will forgive them. Now, what will happen next? I don't know, right? Like, it takes a lot of time and effort to maintain relationships. I'm hoping that we will be able to invest that time and effort to maintain our relationships. But the truth of the matter is, when you live so far away, just even in a long distance relationship, those are hard to make work, let alone basically just having a connection to someone while you're playing a game. Right. And my time in the house was actually quite short, meaning, like, I've spent about 21 days or 20 days in the house, which is different than if you spend 100 days in the house. Right. You see people differently. Right. And I was also playing the game. Right. And so I was strategically playing the game. Right. And I wasn't trying to make lifelong friends, and I wasn't trying to basically develop these really deep personal connections. I was trying to win, right? And the way I was trying to win was basically figuring out who people were, who I was, how we could relate to one another, how we could work together, and how we could move forward.
It's interesting. Derrick, last question. We were running out of time.
Okay, so Hisam, speaking of you going in there, not wanting to develop personal connections, you were there to win the game, and I respect the hell out of that. But there was a moment in the house where you appeared to break character, and that we didn't see everything on the live episode. I know you haven't seen it yet, but there was something that happened between you and Riley where some things were said, and I was actually watching the feeds when this happened, where you kind of broke game for a second and you apologized for some of the things you said and came right out and said, I shouldn't have said it. In that moment, obviously you said what you said. Do you think there needs to be a deeper conversation between you and Riley? Because I felt like I saw a different side to you just in that moment where you came out of the game for a minute and started talking to her as Hisam the person.
Yeah, I mean, I hurt her. I made a mistake. I was wrong. I shouldn't have said what I said. And the last thing I want to do is hurt somebody, right? Especially when they're already down. And the truth of the matter is I was very apologetic and very sorry because I'm still human. Right. I'm still a human being. And so I did apologize to her. I did apologize to other people in the house. I did try to do damage control over the things that I did and said. The problem is that once you said something, you've said it. Right. And you have to allow the other people to heal in their own time. Right. And unfortunately, in a game like Big Brother, when people are looking to find reasons to get you out, a small mistake like that can cost you the entire game and $750,000.
And that's
very well said.
That's ultimately, I think, what happened. It was like that, whatever happened between you and Riley, I think made everybody be like, I think we should maybe get on the opposite side of Hisam and target him. And I think you really could have, if they let you stay in this game, you would have been someone that probably won out a lot of competitions at the end and then would have not been able to be evicted. So I think you would have.
And I think they knew that. Right?
They took the shot when they had the shot. And right now.
And I just think it was so early. I mean, come on.
I know, but Hisam, I was saying it to Derrick, and it's almost like when there's somebody in the house that the entire house wants, you're either going to hitch your wagon to them or you have to go with the house to protect your longevity. And I think your alliance was we want to protect our longevity and we're not going to do that at Hisam's expense. So we got to obviously offer him up to the house. And it's just the way the game goes.
Yeah, that's what happens, right? One small mistake basically costs you the game.
Well, Hisam, I want you to know something. And I think this is important that you know this.
Tell me.
Just because you went home early doesn't mean you're a bad player. It just means you made a miscalculation.
Yeah, I realize.
I'm shouting
Hisam,
that out.
You said that, bro.
I'm shouting that out for Riley because I saw you say that to her. I was like, oh, even though he wasn't trying to be mean, that one stung. That one stung.
Yeah, but it's true, right? Like it's a true statement, and I accept that truth, right? Like I think that I'm a good player in the game. I made a miscalculation. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm only ribbing you. I'm only ribbing you. Listen.
And here's what I'll tell you, like, you can rib me. I don't mind it. Like the things that I say are the things that I said. And I'm willing to, I'm a strong person. I'm a resilient person. I didn't get this age and do as much as I have done if I wasn't.
I love
right?
that.
So rib me as much as you want.
you have a good mindset on it. Keep that mindset. Listen, this is something that not a lot of people have had the opportunity to do. So welcome to the family of this crazy world of Big Brother. You're part of it forever, ever, whether you like it or not. We want to thank you for joining us here on the Winner's Circle. Get back out there. Get back to life.
Before we go any further, Hisam, tell everybody where they can find you.
Yes.
Socials, any way that you want to try to outreach to the fans, people that loved you on the show. Let them know where they can find you.
Oh, well, my Instagram is my first name, Hisam.Goeli, Gouli. And my burlesque is falcon.ay. That's it.
Cool. Get back out there to the real world. Enjoy the rest of the season.
Followers are just going to be like riveting to see what I do next.
Hey, you never know, man. Trust me, the world Big Brother fandom is weird, but get back out there, get back to your real life as soon as you can. Enjoy the rest of the season. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Later.
Thank you. You too.
All right.